Hello and welcome to this tutorial for how to achieve the OnePass two-colour brioche. It's a method that I have sort of developed from something that was called double Dutch, which to me didn't create a true brioche fabric. So I tweaked it a little bit. I come at brioche knitting from a double knitter's perspective. Double knitting is my thing, as anyone who follows my group or my podcast will attest. And I wanted to see if brioche was possible working with two yarns at the same time, doing just one pass per row rather than having to work one yarn at a time, doing each row twice, working along with the blue yarn and then working along the alternate stitches with the yellow, which is the way brioche stitch is normally done. And it's really beautiful texture. This is just a standard brioche rib in two colours. You can see all of these fantastic yellow herringboning in between the columns of blue knit stitches. And if we turn it over, it's entirely reversible with the opposite colour shown on the other side. We've got the columns of knit stitches here in yellow and the blue herringboning in between. That herringboning is caused by the yarn overs that are created as you make the stitches in brioche. Each of the stitches has its own little shawl around its shoulders, which is what is happening when you make the yarn over. It sort of wraps itself around each stitch, and that's what causes this beautiful diagonal herringboning here. So how do we do it in one pass? Well, it's very simple and very similar to how I work double knitting anyway, with just one or two minor but significant details and differences. So I'm just going to show you here how to do it with one yarn in each hand. This is how I normally do my double knitting. After I've demonstrated with one yarn in each hand, I'll also show you how to do it with both yarns in the left hand if you're a continental knitter, or both yarns in the right should you be an English knitter. I've already done my first two stitches here just to show you how it all works, just I didn't want to worry about setting that up on camera. So the first thing you need to do is create the yarn over with your purl stitch. Now it's important that whatever side you're on, my knit colour on this side is blue and my purl colour is yellow. So my knit coloured yarn needs to be in my right hand. My purl coloured yarn needs to be in my left. The first thing I need to do is make a little yarn over around the right needle with my purl coloured yarn. So that's the yarn that's in my left hand. That sets things up and creates the yarn over for the stitch I'm just about to make. So here I go, I've got my yarn over there over my right needle, and I'm going to insert my needle into the blue stitch here and its shawl. So this is working what would be known as a bark or a BRK or a brioche knit stitch. So it's working the two loops and treating them as if they were one stitch, the same as you do in normal brioche. So I'm going to insert as if to knit, and then the most important thing about this is what happens next. Rather than bringing my needle, you see, over the top of my purl yarn there, behind the yellow yarn, it's important that it goes underneath that yellow yarn. So I'll show you that again. I've already got my yarn over from the first stage there. I'm going to go into the next knit stitch with its yarn over and go underneath that yellow yarn, keeping it out of the way. Then I can wrap the blue yarn, my knit yarn, and draw through to make a normal knit stitch, just as I would any other type of knit stitch, and then slip the stitch and its yarn over off the left needle. Then the next thing to do, just like my double knitting technique, is to swing both yarns, purl and knit yarns, to the front of the work and keep them out of the way. Then I'm going to go into the next stitch, which is a purl stitch and its yellow yarn over, and then I'm going to, sorry, that's a yellow stitch with a blue yarn over, and then I'm going to wrap, I think I said it right the first time actually, and then I'm going to wrap and put as if to purl as normal, taking the yarn back and slipping off. That's very simple. That's no different from any other type of purl stitch you would normally do. Here comes the most important part. Instead of swinging my yarns to the back between the needles like I normally would in double knitting, it's very important that I actually take them to the back over the top of the right needle there. That creates two yarn overs, one for the stitch I've just made and one for the stitch I'm just about to make. That's the same as doing that initial yellow yarn over that we started the row with. So now I've got both yarn overs over my right needle, and I start again. That is the repeat, that's all there is to it. So I go into the next knit stitch and its yarn over, underneath that back yarn. That's the vitally important bit. That's the bit that might throw you when you're new to this, but make sure it swings underneath that pearl coloured yarn. Wrap with the knit colour yarn, knit through and slip off, then swing, being careful not to lose those yarn overs, bring both yarns to the front, 1 and 2, and then go into purl, purl with the yellow yarn exactly as you normally would, and then instead of taking the yarns back to the back through the needles, we go over the top, and there we are, ready to go again. Now I think eagle-eyed among you will notice that I used the wrong colour yarn for my first purl stitch, so let's do that again. I'm going to go into the knit stitch, underneath that yellow yarn, purl with the blue, knit with the blue, I'm so sorry, bring through and slip off, bring both yarns to the front, go into the yellow purl stitch and its yarn over, purl with the yellow yarn, slip off, and then take both yarns over to the back, wrapping them over the top of the right needle. One more time, into the next knit stitch, go underneath that back yarn, wrap with the knit yarn, pull through and slip off, both yarns to the front between the needles, being careful that you don't lose any of the yarn over as you go, come into the yellow purl stitch, purl, slip off, and return the yarns to the back of the work, going over the back of the needle. So the steps are as follows. Knit under the purl yarn, slip off, yarns to the front, purl as normal, slip off, and return the yarns to the back over the right needle. And that really is all there is to it. You can see that you can get a really nice level of flow and speed to that just working the stitches as you come to them in the order knit, purl, knit, purl. Always making sure that you bring the yarns together without losing any of the yarn overs to the front, and always making sure you knit going underneath that purl yarn at the back. It's important that needle does that, otherwise you won't be creating the yarn overs that you need and you'll get yourself into a proper tangle. I'm going to finish this row and then I'm going to set up and show you how to do it with both yarns in the left hand. Okay, so here I am with both yarns set up in my left hand to knit this OnePass 2-colour brioche Continental style, and as you can see I'm working, the knit side is yellow, and I've, just as before, I've got my knit coloured yarn to the right and my purl coloured yarn to the left over my finger as follows. Now, just as before, it's important that we start off with the yarn over of the purl coloured yarn, so all I need to do going Continental is go underneath there and pick it up. I put my thumb on it there just to keep it in place so I can start knitting with confidence and not worry about it. So here I go, just as before I'm going to go into the knit stitch and its yarn over. Now here, just like we did when I was working with one yarn in either hand, I still need to go underneath my purl yarn, and then I can pick up my knit yarn, which is the yellow one, to bring through and slip off. Then I bring both of my yarns to the front, and I'm going to go into the next purl stitch with its yarn over, of course, and then I'm just going to purl my purple or my dark blue purl yarn in a normal way, and as I bring my yarns back to the back, I just take them over the top of my right needle, and that creates the yarn over. You see that yellow yarn here is making a yarn over for the blue stitch on the needle, and this blue yarn over is creating a yarn over in waiting for the next knit stitch that I'm about to make. So there I am, ready to start again. So one more time, into both strands as if to knit, because that's what I'm going to do, going underneath the purl yarn and up over the top of the knit yarn, knit it, slip off, bring both yarns to the front between the two needles, and then I go into the purl stitch, and I'm just going to purl. It's right there waiting for you, so I'm just going to purl it and return my yarns to the back of the work, going over the top of the right needle. It really is as simple as that. One more time, in, underneath the purl yarn, and knit with the knit yarn. It's always that move that's really vitally important, that you go underneath. Bring the yarns to the front, purl with my pearl coloured yarn, which is right there waiting ready to go, and then return the yarns to the back of the work, going over the top of the right needle. One more time, just for luck. Here we go. As you can see, I've got my thumb here, and that's just to stop the yarn from slipping off, as they sometimes can do. So I just put my thumb there to anchor everything into place, and then I go in and knit under the pearl yarn, over the knit yarn, slip off, yarns to the front, purl with the pearl yarn, and yarns to the back, creating 2 yarn overs as we go. One last time then. Here we go, into knit under the pearl yarn, over the knit yarn, knit with it and slip off, bring the yarns to the front, into purl, don't forget to go into that yarn over as well, purl with the pearl yarn, and yarns to the back, creating the double yarn over the right needle as we go. I'm going to finish this row, and when I come to the other side, I'll show you how to do it with both yarns in the right hand. Here we are, back on the first side of my knitting again, and I've got my yarns tensioned in my right hand over my right index finger. And just as before, now that I'm on a side where the knit stitches are created with the blue yarn, I've still got my knit yarn, the blue yarn, to the right, and the pearl yarn to the left. That's the way you can keep this going. Knit to the left, pearl to the right. So what we do is exactly the same as before. I have to start off by doing a yarn over with the pearl coloured yarn ready for the next knit stitch to accompany that, and I'm going to go straight in as we did before. Now here we go. I go into the knit stitch and its yarn over. This time I go underneath the pearl yarn exactly as before, but as I pick it up I make sure I take the needle under the pearl yarn and over the knit yarn, and then I can knit with that and slide the yarn off. Then I bring both yarns to the front, and all I need to do then is just knit with the pearl yarn, which is kind of nice and simple because it's right there as it should be. And then don't forget, just as with the other 2 methods, we need to take the yarns to the back over the top, but they're kind of already in that position already, so that's a maneuver that I don't really need to worry about. I'm already in the position just to carry on knitting without having to worry about doing any fancy maneuvers. I put my thumb there as before just to keep the yarn overs in place, and I go in to knit the next stitch. So don't forget, we go under the pearl yarn and over the knit yarn. That's what the needle is doing, and we bring the yarn through to knit, bring both yarns to the front and purl with the pearl yarn. It should be, if your yarns are in the right places, available and ready to go. And as you can see, the yarns are already there. Occasionally my yarns get a little bit close together, so I just spread them out a little bit. It keeps things nice and easy for me. And I go into knit, under the pearl yarn, over the knit yarn, knit through and pull off, bring the yarns to the front, and then just purl with the pearl yarn that's right there waiting for you. That is all there is to it. So now you have the 3 methods. I'm sure there are many more methods for however many types of different ways there are of holding your yarns and tensioning your yarn and doing what you're doing. I'm sure you can work that out if you're an alternate purler or something like that. There must be a way of doing this, but these are the 3 main ways. I've shown you yarn in each hand, both yarns in the left and both yarns in the right. One more time for luck. Into knit, under that pearl yarn, over the knit yarn, knit through, bring the yarns to the front, in as if to purl, which we're doing, purl with the pearl yarn, slip off, and repeat. By the time you've worked across one row doing the one pass method, you've worked every single stitch along the row and you've given every single stitch a yarn over. As in normal brioche, you will work each alternate stitch and give a yarn over to it while you're slipping the ones in between, and then on the next row you work the ones you slipped and slip the ones you worked. So once more, under and over, oops, under and over. You can see this isn't the way I normally do things. Yarns forward, purl, and repeat. So there we have it. That is my version of the one pass 2 colour brioche method. Happy knitting!